Hey everyone, Jamie here from TechnicalCafe.com, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about constants in PHP, and all a constant really is an identifier for a value that can't be changed throughout the course of your PHP script. So you might be thinking, what's the difference between a constant and a variable? So a constant is actually defined and used a little bit differently than a variable in PHP, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in just a second. So in order to define a constant, we're going to be doing that within our index.php file here. You're going to actually use a define function. And in order to do what this function is going to look like is just define, and within this function's parameter list we're going to have the name of the constant, and then we're going to have the contents of the constant, and the last parameter here is going to be whether or not the constant is case insensitive. And that just means, do you have to type it in the way you defined it. So let's go ahead and actually define our own constant here. So we're going to create a constant called message, and we're going to set this message constant to contain hello world. So essentially it's similar to defining a variable called message that contains the value hello world. And one thing to notice here is that we define this constant to be in all caps, and it's a pretty popular naming convention throughout different languages to make a constant all capital so that you know it's a constant when looking at it at a glance. And what we're going to do here too is set this constant to not be case insensitive. So we're going to set it to false here. So somebody has to type constant exactly like it's defined here. So let's go ahead and echo out the value of message here. And one thing to note too is that we're not actually accessing this like we would a variable. If we were to actually go ahead and put a $sign here, like we would with the variable, and we were to try to print this out, we'd get an error because it's not technically a variable. So let's jump back over here and remove that $sign, save this, and come over here and refresh the page here in Chrome, and you'll notice that we get hello world, which was actually defined in our constant over here. Let's say that we were going to try to type this in lowercase, and come over here to Chrome and refresh, and you'll notice that we get the use of an undefined constant message. That's because that we set our constant to be false for the case insensitive setting. If we were to set this to true, however, and then try to echo this out, you'll notice that all is good. So we're going to change this back to false, just because that's how we had it from the beginning. And we're going to come back here to echo out message. So back over to Chrome, and you'll notice that we get hello world like we're supposed to. So the thing with constants is that once you've defined the constant in your program or your script, you can't actually redefine it. So let's go ahead and actually try to do that. So let's say define, and we're going to say message, just like we did up at the top, and we're going to define it to be something else. And we're just going to set this to false as well for the case insensitivity. So now let's try to echo out the value of message. If we come over here to Chrome and refresh, you'll notice that we get our original hello world because we already printed that out up here. But then once we get to the redefining of this constant called message, what we have here is an error that says constant message already defined in the file here. And when we try to print it again, even after trying to redefine it, we get the original value, which is hello world. So a constant can be useful, let's say if you want to have a certain number that's never to be changed throughout the course of your program or anything like that. So one other thing to note too is, let's say we were to try to redefine this constant here. Instead of doing this, let's comment that out. Let's say we were to try to say message equals another message, and then try to echo out this value. So if we come over here to Chrome, you'll notice that we get another error, a parse error, and just because this isn't the way that a constant is defined in PHP. So let's get rid of that, and let's just put that back there. So either way, we cannot redefine this constant to be something else, and even if we try using the define function, nothing happens. It stays the same as it was beforehand. So that's how you use a constant. It's, you may have to use it from time to time if you want something in your program that's guaranteed not to change. Whereas if you have a variable, for example, it's subject to change at some point throughout your program. So Feel free to play around with constants, feel free to put any questions in the comments section below, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.